Welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk about another specific product in my workflow that I use every single day, which is the Magic Keyboard 2. Now, there was the Magic Keyboard 1 and the second generation. The first one came out many years ago, but this one came out about 4 years ago, which is something, this is one of the products. I talked about the Magic Trackpad. The Magic Keyboard is another extension of it. I literally love this keyboard so much, and at first I was kind of hesitant on picking it up. I think about like 3 years ago when I bought it, mostly because it was more expensive than the Bluetooth keyboards I was using at the time, but I went through about 2 or 3 of those before I was like, you know what, I don't want to spend $15 to $20 every time I buy a keyboard, these cheaper ones. I'd rather just buy a better one and have it last, many more years than that. And it was just something about having a lightning port at the end too to charge this thing, because I didn't have because I wasn't using a phone that used a micro USB port. I had an iPhone at the time, so it was really nice of being able to plug in my lightning port into my keyboard and charging it there. And I can tell you, this was probably one of the best pickups I ever made. It was a very, very good investment, and I've seen a lot of these things go for in the used market quite a bit down too, so I can definitely tell you this specific thing, I love this thing so much. And what's cool is that the Magic Keyboard really isn't dead. It's still more alive now than ever. We saw the 16-inch MacBook get released with some sort of Magic Keyboard. They called it a Magic Keyboard, and I'm pretty sure the travel is about the same as this keyboard, which is good. I don't think the travel on this keyboard is bad at all. And we also had the new Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pros as well, which is really cool. Now, I made 2 separate videos of the last 2 years talking about this keyboard as well, but this keyboard is different than the ones I bought earlier. And that mostly has to do with, not really because of like some issue with the keyboard itself. I spilled water on my last one, and these things are not water resistant, so that ended up breaking. But funny enough, only the top buttons ended up breaking. The rest of the keyboard works perfectly fine, so the function keys don't work. So I ended up hooking that up to my other MacBook that I have as like a Windows machine. I installed it through Boot Camp, so I have that keyboard working, so that one still works, for the most part. But this new one is, just the same exact thing. And I can definitely tell you one thing that I always wonder, and the same thing with the Magic Trackpad, is that what can they do better to make the Magic Keyboard 3? What can they possibly add to this thing that'll make me want to update to another, Magic Keyboard? And I don't know what it is. Everything about this keyboard is perfectly fine, even in today's standards. Literally everything I do with it, it handles everything I throw at it every time I type anything. It's not massive, it's pretty sleek, it's not heavy, it doesn't move around everywhere when I'm typing. Like, it's the perfect keyboard ever, at least for my case. I know there's a lot of other people who have many different keyboards they choose from, and that's perfectly fine, and I love that. But for my specific workflow, this works perfectly fine. Now, there's this Magic Keyboard, and then there's the Magic Keyboard with the numpad. Now, I do not have that one. This is the one without the numpad. I might get that numpad one later, maybe if I feel like it, but this one, is perfectly fine for me. Now, looking on the top, you can see we obviously have all those keyboards. We have the function keys up top, and these keys are, clicky enough for me. They're perfectly fine for anything I do with it. Usually what I do is, I'm editing photos, editing videos, searching things on YouTube. Like, that's really it. Now, my workflow isn't like insanely crazy, but I would say I'm definitely, a little bit above just the median of just like web surfing and stuff. I'm definitely above that, but I'm not like, a super intensive user or anything like that. We don't have anything on the sides, but on the back we do have that lightning port, which is strategically placed right there. Thank God it wasn't placed on the bottom of this keyboard. We have an on-off switch on the side, and then on the bottom, just, the little edge pieces so this thing doesn't move around, and the Apple logo. This thing is extremely light. You could probably break this thing with like 10 pounds of pressure if you put on it on both sides, but at the same time it feels like a very sturdy machine. It does not feel like it's breaking. And my last one I used for many years, and the reason it broke was because I spilled water on it. If I hadn't spilled water on it, it would have still been perfectly fine. And that pretty much covers it up on the outside. The connection to your iMac is super easy. Even to my Windows machine, I have it connected, and that process was super easy as well. It doesn't take a lot of effort or a lot of time or whatever to maneuver through it, and there's really nothing I can say. There's really no complaints about it. The battery life is great. One of my biggest problems with my previous Bluetooth keyboards that I had was that the battery life just sucks so bad. I would only go like maybe not even a week, and I would have to charge it every single time, which was really annoying. But with this keyboard too, since I've owned it and since I've owned the other one, I don't charge them at all. I charge them maybe like once every like month and a half, and that's even pushing it. Like, I'm using these things all the time, and these things just don't die, which is really, really cool. Now, I've seen a lot of these go for around that, these things used to sell for I think over $100, and I think now they're like 80, but I could be wrong. I'm sure you can get them on eBay for much cheaper, and I'll link them down in the description if you want to pick them up from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. But I definitely do think, if you're in the market and you need to change your setup, if you have a MacBook or whatever, getting a Magic Keyboard, it might be expensive, like in the short term. Like if you spend like $100 on it, it might be expensive for now. But I think over time that'll definitely save you money, because I was in that same boat. I was like, I don't want to go buy Magic Keyboard 2 because those things are expensive. But you have to keep in mind that if you're going to buy like a $20 Bluetooth keyboard from Amazon or eBay, those things have a higher chances of breaking, because I went through like 3 or 4 of them before I bought this one, and I wish I just bought this one in the beginning because I would have saved myself like probably like $100. So the Magic Keyboard 2 is still holding up quite well in 2020, and it's more alive now than ever in my opinion. So if you want to pick one up, I say go for it. I don't know when the Magic Keyboard 3 is coming out, but like I said, I don't know what they can add to this. Maybe like a backlight to the keyboard, maybe like an LCD display on it somewhere, but then when we get to that point, it's kind of sucking up a lot more battery life in my opinion. I think it's perfectly fine as it is, and I think they did a really, really good job with this keyboard. So in my opinion, it still holds up very well in 2020. So that pretty much covers it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys to check it out. More important than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.